Yeah, a blind squirrel finds a nut eventually, right?
Yeah. Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. Got any more metaphors?
A blind squirrel nuts twice a day.
Oh!
A broken clock finds a nut eventually.
Jarvis, show me that squirrel's balls.
And if you like that joke.
If you like that joke. Welcome into the Softlock Cafe, everybody. This is episode 4. We just got done watching the Summer Games Fest Day 1 shows. We had the main Summer Games Fest showcase. We had the Day of the Dev showcase. And then we had the Devolver Digital Direct, which was just one game. Don't know what that was about, but why are you staring at me like that? Into my life.
And then we also watched the Sony State of Play on Wednesday.
Yeah, we did do that, actually. You're freaking me out a little bit, but it's okay. There's a reason why Z is doing this, and it's because Z's been through the ringer. Yes, that's right. Z's had to sit down for 3 hours and pay attention to a stream and watch video games.
Dude, I hate this is so out of my element. Like, I wanted to, like, you know, be a friend, be a camaraderie, because this is like shit that you like to do, and you're like, oh, it's my thing. I was like, oh, sure. Man, I fucking sitting through. It's like sitting through like the Emmys, kind of. Like, I just don't do that shit. I don't fucking care. Would much rather check Twitter after the event is over than have to sit there and watch it live. It was not for me, but I'm glad to be here so I can have informed opinions on things to yap about on this breakdown for you. I get to look like I'm mildly involved in the gaming stuff for once. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I think the shows were generally okay. There was nothing, like, I feel like there are shows that have, like, had a bunch of really hype major announcements, and there are shows that didn't. And this was one of those years where there was, like, no real super hype announcements, but there were a bunch of, like, new IP and, like, stuff coming along that I think is going to be really good to, like, develop the scene for the future. So I would rate all of the shows today, and today is Friday, June 6th. I think that all of the shows today were, like, I would give it, like, low B, like a B minus, probably.
I was also
overall.
thinking B minus. State of Play was bad.
It was not good. Not good. I will say, though, Final Fantasy Tactics Remake is heat, though. That's like the highlight of the show for me, because I didn't get the opportunity to play that, and I'm a big Final Fantasy enjoyer, so I'm gonna be.
See, I also like Final Fantasy, but, like, to me, I just, like, lump Tactics in with, like, fucking what's that game? Fire Emblem. And so in my head, those are the same thing. And so I'm not super thrilled about Tactics. I don't like it doesn't strike me as Final Fantasy. It strikes me as that. But they had a game. It was called Sea of Remnants. It's like everyone is, like, on live all the time. And as you go through the story, the actions other players have done affects your playthrough of the game. And I think that's a really cool concept for a game. But the game, I don't think that game is going to be good, but I like the idea of that game.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's like one of those, like, walking simulators exploring everything, but when you actually spend time in it, you're like, wait, this is like the Mario Kart World free roam, except that's the whole game. Nothing there.
You're thinking of a different game, or I put the wrong game down.
Sea of Remnants is not the like, explore around SFX?
Sea of Remnants,
SSX?
I thought was the pirate game.
Oh, is it the pirate game?
You're thinking of Sword of the Sea.
Oh, okay. I'm kidding.
You had me double checking myself, because I was like, we did talk about that game, and now that game doesn't look very good.
Listen, we're a show known for live fact checking. We're also a show known for cutting out bits, so it's all right, no problem.
Yeah.
Ghost of YOTEI, though, if you remember from the first episode, Ghost of Tsushima is in my top 3 all time. So Ghost of I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped for it. The problem is I have not yet seen them show me something that, like, expands on the original concept. Like, I would love more of the same, but I feel like they did a really good job the first time with expanding certain systems, and I would like to see how they, like, develop that further. I would rather them, like, move forward instead of just be stagnant, which is all I've seen really so far. Mm-hmm. Beyond Ghost of YOTEI, there was Pragmata at the State of Play.
The sad that game.
Yeah, they brought it back. There was a trailer, like, in 2022, 2023, like a bunch of years ago, and then they were like, it's coming in 2026, maybe, at the end of the trailer. That was insane.
That was the most insane thing. They said maybe at the end of the announcement.
Like, what? They opened up the show at that too, and it's like, How are you gonna start off like this whole season of showcase events with like a maybe release date?
I'll say there was also, they had the 007 game from the Hitman developers that looks kind of fun. Like we've talked about it. I do talk about on the show that neither of us are like James Bond heads. Like we don't know Ball like that. But
yeah, we don't know James Bond.
It seems fun. They announced
if they just make Hitman, it's gonna be fine. Like it seems like it is just Hitman. So
that is what a lot of it looked like. They did announce at Summer Games Fest that one of the villains from, the villain from Casino Royale is going to be an elusive target in Hitman. So that's kind of cool that they have like access to that IP now to do in actual Hitman. And then they ended the show with like a Marvel, like Dragon Ball Z fighter clone. And it looks fine, like a fighting game. But like, how are you ending on that? And then like they did a rewind and they did like a little in-depth like documentary on like how passionate they are to bring us this Marvel slop. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I felt like this is for a very specific type of person, and we just aren't that cross section of gamer.
Yeah, and like I like Marvel, but like. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to cap my entire presentation of everything going on within gaming with a Marvel fighting game.
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting a different IP to come from them. They expected them to adapt like an anime game into an actual like 2D fighter, like a One Piece 2D fighter game, like something like that. But they came out with they put a samurai skin on Iron Man. And they made a bunch of Gooner Storm skins, so I'm gonna have a great time in that game. You know, hands up or hands down, really. You know what I'm saying, chat? Don't stand up.
And then to top it all off, the piece de resistance. No new Final Fantasy stuff other than tactics. Like no Final Fantasy 9 remake. They've been talking about it. No Kingdom Hearts. But it's like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. You know, we have Summer Games Fest coming up Friday. Maybe they announce it then. Nope. No KH4 or Final Fantasy 9 remake. Oath and I both in shambles right now. I think that's my biggest takeaway is that you and I are on watch right now. That stool is looking mighty kickable right now.
I don't know how I'm gonna make it through to December, which is like the next game, because there's no chance they announce anything at the Xbox showcase on Sunday. And there's no showcases going on tomorrow that they would announce a Kingdom Hearts or a Final Fantasy. Like they would wait till a big event. So the next available event would be December of this year if we hear anything at all. So it's like, what are we doing it for? What are we doing it all for?
Remake where they just drop it on a Tuesday. It's like, by the way, here's the Oblivion remake. That was crazy. There was no build up to that. They were just like. I mean, there was the leak, which I get leaks in quotation marks. They probably leaked it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's our only hope of getting Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts news in this year.
They could potentially do it, definitely. I would be excited to see that. I feels like if they did do that, it would probably go as well as the Oblivion remaster did. Like, it would catch a bunch of people by surprise, and you'd be like, holy shit, I gotta get this right now. And then you got a wave of, like, you know, a couple million people instantly copying for 60. So, surprise them with a good price tag. Or maybe even 50. They could drop it for 50. Everybody would buy it.
I could see Final Fantasy 9 being 50. There's no universe Kingdom Hearts is going to be 50.
No, that game might be as much as GTA 6, honestly. They might just go the route of, like, this game is $120, but also it has every Disney World and Star Wars and, like, every Disney IP that we have grabbed from, you know, all of our Monopoly season.
You've got Avatar, you've got Marvel, you've got Star Wars, you have The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't know. I really thought, genuinely, because of Missing Link getting canceled and, like, the teaser of more to come on Twitter, that we would have something at this showcase. Either the State of Play or the SGF main show. But we just didn't. There was
Square
no mention of
quiet. Because as we're big Square heads, my favorite developer far and away.
Another major miss was SilkSong, too.
Yeah, no SilkSong.
Why?
They had a joke in the Deadpool reveal. They're like, yeah, you're going to go ahead and skip the SilkSong trailer so you can play my Deadpool VR game.
That tilted me a little bit because it made me think that the SilkSong trailer was about to play. Mm-hmm. And, like, the people in the crowd were screaming like they thought, too. Like, I wasn't the only one that thought that.
Mm-hmm. My biggest takeaway from that was I never really watched, like, one of these shows. Deadpool said fuck, and I was like, they can say that on the stage? That was crazy. It blew my mind.
It did.
There was only, I think there was only like 2 or 3 the entire show.
2 or 3 curse words?
Fucks specifically.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
In the show, I think that trailer had a couple in it, and then the Day of the Developers after had a good like fuck shit come piss trailer. So sorry, yeah.
There was the one guy who was like, you're gonna play what's the portal game? Splitgate
2.
Splitgate, yeah. He's like, you're gonna play Splitgate 2 and it's gonna be fucking awesome. I was like, wow, you're so cool.
The guy who was wearing the like off-brand MAGA hat, who's like trying to be like the parody.
FPS is great again, and he had like a foam bat. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, that was a little sus, man. So that's pretty much all the state of play. The Summer Games Fest, we talked about a couple of things, but I think we should talk about, like, there was a couple of good co-op games that came out of it. There was the stop-motion Unraveled style game where you're, like, the guy and the girl going through, like, this... I don't know if you're, like, brother-sister, if you're, like, partners or whatever it is, but...
They were like 2 different skin tones. I assume they're not brother-sister.
Yeah, I don't know. They could just be friends as well. They could just be 2 friends, but they're traveling through a world that looks very, like, Unraveled stop motion style animation.
Yeah, the entire game is in stop motion, which is crazy. And one of the conceits of the game is you guys don't have mouths, which is why the game is called Out of Words. The 2 characters that you're playing as, it's kind of like a It Takes Two co-op style game, and it looks really sick. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to more coming from that. What's the other one?
It was Lego Voyagers. It's they did. It like you gave a really good insight. It looks like Human Fall Flat, but you're Lego pieces, and you guys are just like co-oping around. It's from the people that did the Lego Journey series. If you've ever played any of those are kind of like fun, cutesy little, kind of like puzzle platformy type thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that one will be just fun, wholesome fun.
Yeah, that's like father playing with his son instead of like Fortnite, like or like me and Z playing for content, something like that.
Yeah, so father playing with his son. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like they did a really good job with the lighting in that game and the ambient occlusion and like their bounding boxes, how they did like the filtering of the light and stuff. I really like it because it creates a really cool like reflections and like subscattering of the lights, and it's just really cool. I used a bunch of buzzwords there, but all knowers know. Yeah, so those are the 2 major co-op games. We were playing bingo, and it was funny because we got 2 cards at once with one of the games. It was Liza P DLC. So we had Liza P PEE as one of the cards, and then we also had Available Right Now, and we hit both of those at once. And have you ever played Liza P? Do you know?
Have not.
Do you like it?
I know it is like a Souls-like roguelike game where you're like going through and trying to beat different levels, and it all like resets if you die and stuff like that. But I don't know much.
No roguelite. It's not roguelite at all.
Is it not roguelike?
No.
Why did I have it in my head that it was roguelike?
It is chapter based, so you have like 13 chapters, and you progress through the game like just beating bosses and stuff. And it is story based. So you are Pinocchio, and you get the option to either lie or not lie. The more you lie, the more human you become. The more that you tell the truth, the less opportunities you have to become human. You can get different endings at the end of the game depending on the choices that you make. And yeah, there's a parry mechanic a la Sekiro. And it is just a very cool idea as a whole, because there's like puppets, there's like mechanical, like steampunk puppets. It's just like a really cool idea. But Overture is a prequel that is set right before the fall of the main town Krat, and it's going to be like you get difficulty sliders for the bosses now, so you can have like a ultra challenging version of some of the bosses, or you could go for like an easier version of some of those bosses. So I'll be giving it a try. Yeah, I think it's definitely a cool idea. I'll be giving it a try, but I was really hoping that it would be like more of an interlude between Liza P and whatever their next IP was. They teased at the end of Liza P that it would be a Wizard of Oz like Dorothy. They had like a scene where a girl had on the red slippers and she clicked her heels 3 times. I mean, it's as Dorothy as it gets. So
it is as Dorothy as it gets.
I was hoping there would be like a bridge into that somehow, but it doesn't look like they're going that direction. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. But I'm like a 6 out of 10 hype for it. Like I'll play it, but I'm not gonna like go buy it today. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Is there? Let's see. What other stuff were you hype about from the Summer Games Fest? Are you a Resident
one of the
Evil head?
weirder things that they announced that I thought was super sick is they're doing like a Wu-Tang Clan game where like Ghostface Killah is asking you to go like gather up the rest of the members because they've been like scattered to the abyss somehow. And it had like the Spider-Verse style like animation where it looks like it's a lowered frame rate even though it's at a normal frame rate. And it's kind of like it looked like hack and slashy, but also like just general action RPG. Looks pretty cool. It's called Rise of the Deceiver, I believe. Is what
and it's the second Wu-Tang Clan, surprisingly enough, which is crazy. Like it's crazy. There's two. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's a co-op game. It came out in 1999. It's called Wu-Tang Shaolin Style.
Of course.
Yeah. So it looked like almost like basically like a hack and slash or like an action combat style, like beat 'em up kind of almost. But I wondered if there was like a rhythmic aspect to it. It didn't look like there was in the trailer, but that would be really cool if there was. This is like just pure speculation and hopes, but it is a co-op game, so you might see us play it sometime. Who knows?
Yeah, because you would assume that like if you have Wu-Tang Clan in your game, you're gonna have Wu-Tang Clan music. So like if they had like combos for like syncing. Or like you got like bonuses for syncing your combos up to the music or something like that. Or just like the combat in general was like rhythm based to the music. That would be insane. And so that's something I'm really hoping for that game. They didn't really show us that much of it, but if any of that comes to fruition, that would be hype.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what they reveal in the future, how quickly that comes out. Because I think they didn't do a release date, right?
If they did, I don't remember it.
All right, let me just double check then.
Yep, I was saying fact checking.
This just in, chat. It is just announced. No date.
Just announced.
So unfortunately, we don't know like a timeline for anything like that, but we'll see in the future. We can talk about though a game that threw shade. One of the shadiest presentations at the Summer Games Fest was surprisingly a Sonic game. And it was a Sonic race. It was the Sonic Racer game. So the presentation starts. He walks out. It's the game director, and he's standing on the stage. He gets his mic, and he's like, "Unlike other kart racing games that released recently, we're gonna have cross-play with like cross-platform cross-play essentially with the races." And he threw direct shade at Mario Kart World, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we wanted to cover Summer Games Fest and. That's not even the craziest thing that happened during that presentation.
Correct. Because at the end, they were like, all right, guys, we have guest characters. And they're like, all right, what like could you possibly imagine for like a guest character for a Sonic game? They said, HATSUNE MIKU. And I was like,
what?
Okay, leaks in hand, ready to go. We got this. And then they announced the guy from Yakuza, which is like a little less exciting, but still kind of cool. And then they announced Joker, and his car looks really sick. And then at the end, they're like, all right, get things over. Just kidding. They break down the wall. It's Minecraft.
And not just Minecraft. It's the Ender Dragon. It's Steve. It's Alex Endo Creeper in minecarts, like driving around.
Yeah, and the Ender Dragon was like flying like over the racetrack. It looks insane. That is going to be one of the coolest, like, track. Words are hard.
Speaking of carts, though, they also have, like, surfboards, right? We saw that they had surfboards in the game.
So I played, it was like Sonic Riders Zero Gravity on the PS2. That game was really cool. And, like, you had, like, boards, basically. And you would, like, skate. You could, like, grind. They had, like, an air ride thing where you could like fly on parts of different tracks, and they also had like bikes where if you were on the bikes you could like punch through walls and like other obstacles. So, like each one had their own version of a shortcut that they could take. And it looks like they had the boards in this game, so you have the people on boards and you have people on carts, which I assume because normally it's just been carts for the Sonic All-Star Racers, so they're opening it up now, so I assume boards are going to function like bikes do in Mario Kart, so you have that variety of gameplay, which I think is it looks sick. They've pushed the boundary as far as I think you could push a traditional kart racer.
I will say the tracks just look like they did the Mario Kart 8 tracks. Like I swear to God, I think I just saw Rainbow Road in there.
It would be even fun if they did the one from 8 where the track is an 8 and they're like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. But it's called Cross Worlds, so I can only assume that we're going to see a lot of Sega IP in this beyond just, Sonic and Minecraft. Like, I assume we're going to get collaborations from a lot of things, a la Dead by Daylight. They fuck endless collaborations, We'll see some stuff in the future that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get like get some more Persona characters or something.
Earlier, Yagog said that this is going to end up being the Smash of kart racers.
We're all here. Yeah, I hope there's a good soundtrack, because I know that the Sonic Racers typically have really hype soundtracks. I've got a couple of their songs on my stream song list, so I hope there's a good soundtrack come out of that. But I think it's time that we finally address it.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Every other trailer has been Into the Spider-Verse, one of the greatest animation feats of all time, taking a bunch of different great movie, great writing, taking a bunch of different animation styles, putting them together to where it looks like seamless and everything works and makes sense. And you get that lower frame. It looks like a lower frame rate, even though it's at still a normal frame rate, to give you that classic retro, more comic book feel. Phenomenal, fantastic.
Very stylized.
Everyone took the wrong message from that movie, and they're like, "Oh, that movie was popular because it looks cool. So we're gonna take that weird slow animation style and put it in every game ever."
Every game.
Every other trailer we saw was trying to mimic that art style, and it's new and tired at the same time.
Yeah, it is gimmicky, right? But the problem is there are literally 8 games coming out at the same time that have that style of animation in it, and that's cool. There was a Little Nightmares clone that did that, and I think they did it. That was the best one of the ones that we saw that did that style of animation. I think most of them were pretty dog water. The problem is that you can do that and just rip it, but the problem is the world isn't stylized around that. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense for every setting and every scenario. It just makes sense for the scene of Spider-Verse because it has that comic book feel to it. But when you insert that into settings that have nothing to do with that comic book feel, they're not even trying to go for that. They're just trying to do the cheap animation. It just feels unearned for sure.
Yeah. And so I don't know.
It's a bad trend and I hate it. I've stood on this. I do not like that at all. I think
10 years from now, you're going to be able to tell what games came out in 2026 because they're all going to have that exact same art style.
Yeah. It's not fun. And another con that I want to bring up is we gotta stop doing Souls-like games without adding mechanics or interesting things, because I'm sick of seeing Code Vein 2 and it's just, oh, we did Dark Souls 2, but it's anime. I don't want it. I don't care. And I know some people do care, but I just think we need to get away from making the same game with a different, but what if it was here? What if it was here? What if I had erectile dysfunction? Then my dick wouldn't work. All right? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't, because a lot of them are just all right, we're going to have a game. We're going to add a dodge roll. We're going to have a stamina bar. Have fun. And we're all right, cool. So many, don't get me wrong, FromSoft has been wildly successful with Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all the jazz and Sekiro, right? So people see that these games are profitable, people want to play these games, but not everyone needs to make this game. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's time to move away.
Looks abysmal. In a general sense, there are some gems. They pulled out another one that everything that they showed was in engine, and it was the biggest twist. None of us saw come. If you in a million years had told me that we were going to get a Mike Tyson Punch Out Muppet game, I wouldn't have words for you. I would say that'd be crazy, but that's what they had, and it looks so good.
Yeah, the humor is it feels very up our alley, because right in the middle of the trailer there was a scene where they were in a freezer and they were punching basically a slab of butchered meat, and in the top right they had a beat your meat counter.
Yeah.
And they like thought they could slip that in. It was like a 3-second clip. I was like, hey, wait a minute.
It's also funny because like they're trying to make this story super dark. It's like you're like a single dad trying to like fight to get money to like get your kids back or something, and you're a Muppet. You're like an alcoholic Muppet.
I wanna do, now that we have this, I wanna do a bit where I play the game, and there's a scene in the Jason Segel Muppets where him and Kermit are singing "Am I a man or a Muppet?" And there's like a line where it's, Am I a man or am I a Muppet of a man? I want to do that rendition like, while playing the game. I need that.
As you're just sobbing, punching other people. Yeah. Am I a Muppet of a man?
Full existential crisis about that game. So felt that boxing, super excited about that. No release date for it, but I assume this is going to be one of those ones that probably going to come later in 2026. Let me just do a live fact check so that I make sure that I don't, once again, provide misinformation for free for no reason. To be announced, chat. No release date. I was correct. See, like I'm doing this because they asked me to. So yeah, we should talk about the finale of the main show where he basically Jeff came out and he had a shaky voice when he was talking.
He looked like he was about to cry announcing this.
Yeah.
And then one of my channels was like, I can't wait to be disappointed by whatever's about to be announced.
Shout out mini quits, yeah. I cannot wait to be utterly disappointed. So Resident Evil 9 is apparently a follow-up.
No build-up.
What do you mean?
Like, I thought you were going to build up, like, what the game was. And you're just like, so anyway, Resident Evil 9.
It's Resident Evil 9, chat, or guys.
Oh my god! Resident Evil 9! That's crazy!
I will say for the first 20 seconds of the trailer, there was like a 0.5% chance it was a Half-Life 3 ref. And I like, there was a chance because you, like, Jeff goes, they could have announced this anywhere, but they chose here. That to me was like, oh, this is something like special. But like, obviously Resident Evil 9 is special, and I will be playing it, and I am hype. I sped ran Resident Evil Village, and I love every Resident Evil entry. I will sing Resident Evil's praises until I'm dead. Love it. We will be playing Resident Evil 6 when we do our co-op wheel series where we spin a wheel, and every time we die, we have to change to a different game based on where the wheel lands. It'll be super cool. But I'm excited to do that. But Resident Evil 9 is basically going to be a follow-up to Resident Evil Outbreak, which is a 2002 PlayStation 2 game that was very well received about Ashley Ashcroft. And then it's based around her daughter.
Ash is such a bad name. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, it is for sure. Yeah, let me just double check that I'm not a stupid idiot and that is the wrong name because I do want to be right about that.
Alyssa Ashcroft was her mom.
Alyssa. Okay. So Grace Ashcroft is the daughter, and it is in the setting shows a destroyed Raccoon City. It's got the police department all destroyed, and this is the setting that you were in when you were playing Resident Evil 2 and some of 3. So it's like a suggestion of almost like an open world Resident Evil. I feel like is like almost kind of like what we're. That's my prediction is that this will be the first open world Resident Evil game, low key. Just based on what I saw in the trailer, there were so many locations, right? This is the first Resident Evil where there are like Resident Evil 2. You got the police station, you got underneath, and you got the raccoon research department, right? Like and it's in a very localized location. This is like an FBI agent that's being tasked to go do investigations about this overarching crime. I think that maybe there's like an angle where you could, go around the town and like do investigations, like it just in a more open environment, whereas the previous Resident Evil had a very linear, closed level design.
And if it is open world, I think that's bad. I don't know if open world and horror survival go together, because a lot of the horror survival is like being able to navigate your way through the level that they've laid out for you and having to like manage your resources appropriately. And I don't think that you can do that in an open world. So like if it is open world, I think that is a bad direction to take this series specifically.
Yeah, and it could also just be open world in the sense that the levels are, entirely flowing, and there's not like, there's not like a hallway that you walk through to get to like the next part, because Resident Evil has always been a Metroidvania at its heart without being called that, because you you progress through the level, you obtain items that you need or required to get through to the next level. So I don't really know how you translate that to an open world game, except if you do like Breath of the Wild style implementations. They did it the best, I think, where it was like Metroidvania mixed with open world environments. But like a game like Skyrim, there's no like progression in the way that like something is locked by an ability. Like it's just you go through. I mean, I guess like the main quest, you get shouts and shit, but that's like all on the path, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think there is a point where it's gonna be something different because it's called Requiem, right? And there's gonna be some meaning behind Requiem, you know what I mean? So like some sort of change in dynamic, because Requiem is a musical composition or mass for the dead associated with funeral services or memorial events. I don't know. I think it might be
the whole thing was the
like,
FBI director. He's like, "Hey, Grace, I need you to go investigate a murder that happened at the hospital where your mom died." And then it cut to her like Grace being like tied up in the hospital. So hopefully, I think it just takes place in the hospital. And what we saw was just the intro of the game. That cutscenes is like going to set us up. Hopefully we just stay in the hospital the whole game. I think that is the best chance at it being a true to Resident Evil. But I don't know.
Hospital horror is good horror. That's like Outlast was a very scary game for me because it's primarily like a insane asylum hospital found footage horror. Mm-hmm. But Resident Evil 9, I think that I am pretty hyped for it. I think the most hyped thing about it is they announced a release date at the end of the trailer.
They announced like, boom, the game, February 27th. Come get it.
They announced the game and the release date in the same trailer. Like that is amazing. I love that. That is very consumer friendly. I think they're gonna charge $80 for that game. I think that is gonna be a wave of $80 games. So we have now entered into that wave of games that are just gonna cost way too much.
It shouldn't really be a surprise to us that it was Resident Evil, because throughout the entire thing there was like God, what company is it? Bandai Namco? Or
it was no, it's Capcom.
Capcom, that's it. Yeah, Capcom. And they literally like stopped the show. They're like, "Hey, by the way, a bunch of these Resident Evil games are on sale. Go buy them." I was like, "That's odd."
They got the Lady Dimitrescu actor out there. Mm-hmm. Mommy.
I don't know. She had weird forehead, but still would. But it is something I noticed. It took me out of it.
I mean, respectfully. Let me say this respectfully.
Sure. Would respectfully.
Yeah.
But because Jeff, he was talking about like they could have announced it anywhere, but they chose to announce it here. Do you think that Summer Games Fest paid them to reveal it here, or do you think they had to pay to be in Summer Games Fest to reveal that?
I think Capcom pays for sure.
Capcom pays.
Yeah. Because otherwise, not as many eyes would be on it. Like they're paying for the opportunity. It's like the same way as Capcom would pay E3 to have a booth at E3. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes, but like once, because like I don't like if it was like something like a Half-Life 3, a KH4, right? You would want to be the show that gets that. So that's something that I feel like you would bid on rather than them like having them pay you. You know?
Definitely. I think that it's more about what show fits the needs of the advertising campaign the best. Like the Sony State of Play is gonna bring a certain level, like maybe an exclusivity deal would cause them to come to the State of Play, right? There are deals that would do that, but usually it's not just like, I'm going to pay you to bring my trailer to the show. It would be something additional onto that, you know what I
mean? It takes a certain caliber. I think there's only certain calibers of games where you would pay them to be there. And
I don't think Jeff pays anybody.
You don't think Jeff pays anyone?
I don't think Jeff pays anybody. No. I think generally the money comes in because the show has to turn a profit, you know what I mean? Right. Regardless, the show has to turn a profit to continue to exist. So the money has to come from
12 of your 13 people have paid to be there. You're still turning profits even if you're paying that one person to come to you.
And I would argue that the bigger they are, the more that they would have to pay, just because of the fact that it's like, hey, this is a prestige thing. You know what I mean? Like if you want to come show your game here, you're gonna have to pay the value that it would bring to us and to you. Because if I'm Jeff, think of the value that I'm bringing, because if you don't announce it here, you would announce it at a show that gets a lot less eyes. Because regardless of anything, the Summer Games Fest main show gets the most numbers out of any show for the summer. And then in December, you've got the Game Awards, and that gets the most eyes out of any show. So Jeff Keighley just has the best gaming show. The The best meaning the most viewed, to be clear.
Sure.
I'm not going to speak on quality because there's a lot of really good game shows out there that I love, arguably more than the Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards. But yeah, I think Jeff has a lot of leverage. I think that having a platform that can give eyes is the same thing as like, Ludwig getting paid $50,000 to play King's Road for an hour with Pokimane and Valkyrie. It's like that. Obviously, it's to a different extent because Kingdom Hearts 4 is legendary, but like. That is one where like they've announced Kingdom Hearts 3 at Tokyo Game Show. You know what I mean? At a show that no one watches really, outside of Japan. So it's that's not something that I think that they consider. It's more so about the show that provides the most for them.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe I yap too much about that, but I don't know. I'm a real gamer. I love that shit.
Yeah, so you watch the shows more than I do. You have better insight. I don't know. I just see I feel like it should work both ways.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Sony though, like Jeff, I feel like Jeff's shows are different because he is just a guy. Sony is like, I feel like there is like a lot more there with Microsoft and Sony for sure because you've got the Game Pass deals and you've got the PlayStation Plus deals and then just the general exclusivity deals that come from those, and with Nintendo as well, of course, with the SILKSONG stuff, which I don't know. Maybe that's why it didn't show up because Nintendo. Maybe it's a switch to exclusive, which please no.
Yeah, that would make a lot of people very upset.
Yeah, I think that's bad. But we've talked a lot about gaming. Let's take a little bit of a break from gaming and talk about your dentist trip and how you're just built different.
Yeah, I guess. So like a week ago yesterday, I went to the dentist and I got... so originally, the plan, I have 4 wisdom teeth. They were going to all out at once. But we got there, they do an x-ray, and they're like, hey, this guy is just like laying down like basically on your jawbone, and it's not hurting anything. And if we were to take it out, that would be a really deep hole that doesn't need to be there, and it might make it worse. So we're just gonna leave that one there. And I said, all right, bet. And they took out my 3 teeth, and I was like, man, it's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna go home after being put on anesthetic for the first time. I'm gonna come home. We're gonna stream the daily games. I'm gonna be all goofy, silly, saying funny things. None of that. I woke up in the room, perfectly coherent, fine. Got up and like walked out like literally 5 minutes after waking up. I was so mad. Dragoon, one of my chatters, shout out by the way. He drove me. He sat in the room. And he had like a bucket in case I like throw up, felt like kind of woozy. He was like super nervous about like having to like be able to like walk me up to my apartment to make sure like I get in okay. And then literally just none of that. I was fine. We got on. It was the most normal daily game stream we've had. We got like, most of them, but not all of them, like how we normally do. And then they prescribed me 2 different painkillers because they're like, you're going to be needing taking painkillers every 3 hours, and you can't take I can't take a Tylenol every 3 hours. So we're going to alternate. You take Tylenol and then you take I think amoxicillin or something like that, and then you like go back and forth. It's that way you can take a painkiller every 3 hours. I've taken my pain pill maybe like 4 total times because like after yapping for a lot, sometimes like the lower part on my right side where they took the tooth out hurts a little bit. But like I'm so annoyed. I feel like I got scammed. Like you're supposed to have all this fun stuff when you go to the dentist, and it's other than having to chew a little differently when I eat, it's been the most normal week I've had, and I'm so annoyed about it.
They didn't want to poke the bear of your mouth, They wanted to leave it alone. Can't dig around too much in there. We don't know what we're gonna find. What does that mouth do? We can't know for sure.
I say this is my moneymaker. They knew they had to keep it safe.
Yeah, Z is definitely built different. It's because when I got like laughing gas, I was tripping. I was having crazy times. So
mine was full local anesthesia. It wasn't just laughing gas.
Oh, okay. So you just had a numb mouth, basically.
Well, no, they like fucking put something in my nose and I fucking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's good.
As I saw Alice rolling around back there, how's she doing?
Yeah, Alice is she's in recovery. She's had a rough week. Earlier this week, we had opened up the back door over there, and on the back door we have a screen door that's latched closed. But the screen door is not one of those screen doors that closes with like a knob. It has just like a latch, like one of those like actual like metal pieces that you just stick into a hole and it closes it like that. And so it just basically holds it closed rather than create like a sealer. So a wasp is flying around. It's the summer. We're in North Carolina. This is wasp season. So there was just one flying about, and it came underneath the screen door because there's some space under there, and it like was flying on the screen. Yeah, and so it was flying on the screen door.
Sorry.
And I saw it, and I was like, Alice is over there because I'm always watching. Like I'm always keeping an eye on her, and I saw the wasp, and so I was like, I'm gonna go over there and get the wasp. And before I could do that, I had to like get a piece, like a paper towel. But as I turned around, the wasp flies down, and I'm like, all right, I know something bad's about to happen because the wasp flies down. So I like just stay there just to watch it, just to be there in case anything happens. And Alice decides to like try to get it, puts her paw on it, and the second she does, she goes and like jumps back, and I pull her back. I grab her out of the situation because I'm like, oh my God, Alice, you're crazy. You're not, because the wasp is big. This is not a wasp you can just put a paw on and it'll kill it. She doesn't have the strength to do that. So she's like guaranteeing essentially herself getting stung. So she's like, I'm worried about her for the rest of the day, and I'm sitting there like on Alice watch, making sure like nothing swells, because I don't know if she gets stung on her paw or her face, because after she got stung, she like licked her paw and then rubbed her face with it. And so I was like, I don't know if this is on her face, or maybe she's just rubbing her paw on her face, like when I'm like, oh, I got a boo-boo. You know what I mean? I don't know. But it ended up she had no swelling, no reaction, so I did not feel a stinger. I made sure I checked her for a stinger because I wanted to make sure that there was no chance for her to get hurt. But it was just a stressful time, and she's in recovery. She's just been a little girl. She's been very, very sweet this week because I saved her life. So
we're all very proud that she pulled through the attempt on her life.
It was like, I don't know if you've ever seen that video of that kid who's riding a skateboard and he hits a rock and he's like sitting on the ground crying, and then the other kid picks up the rock and he's like, it was this damn ass fuck ass rock. Do you want to piss on it? you gotta kill the bee. You gotta show it to her and be like, you want to piss on it?
That is crazy.
Oh yeah, but we.
Yeah, did you see what I said?
Yeah. It is a happy Pride Month, everybody.
So not yet. Since I'm bi, I only get to celebrate half of Pride Month, and I'm choosing to celebrate the second half. So not
it's
yet.
also why we put this in the back half of the episode and not the front half, because
we definitely did talk in pre-call that we were going to intro the show with this, and then I was looking through the things on the topics. So I was like, dang, we just totally glazed over Pride Month.
Yeah, we should have put that at the top of the list.
Neither did Game Awards or Game Fest.
Yeah, what the hell?
On our bingo card, we put like shout out Pride Month as like our free square because we thought it was locked in, it was free, it was guaranteed. And then
I thought they'd make like even a passing remark at the start, be like, celebrating Pride Month, we want to give a shout out to all of our members of the LGBT plus gaming community, something like that, but just nothing.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think it's a sign of the times, man. If Kamala won, they would have had a shout out, but Trump won, so here we are. Just another consequence of the regime, chat.
Can't have shit in this regime.
Yeah, Elon Musk just figured that one out this week too.
Dude, it's so good. The Elon drama has been insane. Because the craziest thing I think of, right, is that he was like, hey, by the way, the Epstein files haven't been released because Trump's in them. Have a good day, whatever.
Hashtag pedophile.
Yeah. The fact that like, because like we all have like kind of known, right, that like Trump is on there. It's like there's pictures of him and Epstein and
yeah,
Ghislaine.
we just
like,
know that.
Yeah. So like knowing that this has been like common knowledge, Elon still decided to give this guy $200 million to win an election, and then like now retroactively he's like, well, by the way, it's like, yeah, everyone knew this, Elon. You're the weirdo here.
Yeah, it is just a self-report to go, I'm mad at you now, so I'm gonna say, like, hey, you're on the Epstein file list, like, I have a problem with it, but, like, you knew this way in advance, and you didn't have a problem with it until he, like, basically, the guy that Elon put up to be the new NASA director, Trump passed over him. And this is a guy that, regardless of Elon nominating him, what you think of Elon, this is a guy that is well respected in the space community. And like people say this is a ball knower, and like he would have been good for the office. So
well, that's obviously why Trump didn't nominate him. We can't have anyone who knows what their fucking job is in this administration.
Yeah. So he basically he said no to that. Elon and Doge is an objective failure. They moved the goalposts entirely, and then he left to go, try to salvage what was left of Tesla, essentially. And he basically dug himself a hole, and regardless of this, now people who own Teslas have to worry about their shit getting keyed from libs and from conservatives. Like they're getting it from both sides. And think about the poor Tesla owner who bought the car in 2015 and they didn't know shit about Elon. They were just like, I'm gonna buy an EV because it's good for the environment. And now they like get stickers on that's like, I'm a terrorist pedophile. You know what I mean? I support illegal immigrants, like shit like they flip so fast. It's like snip, snap, snip, snap. I don't know what to do about this, man. Ridiculous. The girls are fighting.
Oath is worried about this because he's a Tesla owner, so.
It's only 6 days into Pride, and the girls are already at each other's throats. Elon has a black eye. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then from Trump's end, of course, he because a lot of why Elon got upset in the first place is in the big beautiful spending bill, the most beautiful bill. The Trump cut out the mandates for electric vehicles, and but didn't have any penalties towards like fossil fuels, which is kind of wild, like, gee, I wonder who co-sponsored this bill. And then also just the fact that this is going to add like $3 trillion to the debt. Elon, he's like, he's sticking to his guns. He's like, I came in because I wanted to cut government spending, and all you guys are doing is like upping government spending. I hate this. Which, like, don't get me wrong, Elon's still cringe. At least it's standing for something. Like, Republicans are usually so baseless, wishy-washy, just like whatever Trump says is right, even if we said it was bad a week ago. So the fact that Elon is at least doubling down and being like, the fact that we're upping spending is stupid. So like, he got to the right answer through the wrong ways.
Yeah, basically.
The bill is bad, but
the bill is terrible.
It feels weird to be on the same side as Elon on anything.
That is, well, yeah. So the thing is we're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you type situation. You know what I mean? We're still laughing at him, but you know what? Maybe he did say something that was valid.
Yeah, a blind squirrel finds a nut eventually, right?
Yeah. Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. Got any more metaphors?
A blind squirrel nuts twice a day.
Oh!
A broken clock finds a nut eventually.
Jarvis, show me that squirrel's balls.
And if you like that joke.
If you like that joke. Oh, man, that is wild. That is... So, I know that we joked about missing Pride Month. Do you want to, like... I know that you know a lot more about it than I do. Can you tell me, like, what is Pride in general? Like, obviously it's a month where we recognize awareness for the LGBTQ plus community, but, like, what is it at its heart?
So Pride, you started off as riots, usually, because, spoilers, peaceful protests don't work as well as they would have you believe, because peaceful protests can easily be ignored. And you need to be loud and boisterous and be inconvenient to people, so that way they are incentivized to take actions to get you to stop, rather than them just not doing that.
So the origin was protesting.
Yes. The Stonewall riots was usually cited as like the start of Pride. Really, it was back in the now I'm gonna live fact check, so I'm not speaking information. I believe it was the 80s. Marsha P. Johnson. So it was 1969, actually, is when the Stonewall riots were. Yeah, it was a gay bar in New York City, and basically it was like a sting. They came in, they were like, "Hey, we got the gays," because you couldn't be gay back in the day. And then Marsha P. Johnson just like started throwing bricks and was like, "Fucking, what are we doing here?" And basically just like incentivizing people to like be like, "Hey, what is happening is not okay." And so now we use June as just like a way to like be loud, be proud, do not let them quiet you, because as long as you still have your voice and you can still flex that it's okay to be what you are, then they even if they make gay marriage illegal again, as long as you still are loud and proud, then it kind of doesn't matter. Like, don't get me wrong, we shouldn't be rolling back a bunch of stuff like Trump is currently doing, but The whole message is just like, be loud, be proud, which is why we have like the vaguely trans pride colored shirt on today, actually, because it is the Pride episode.
Shout out.
I got you. And I'm 4 for 4 on cardigans, in case you noticed. Oh, this is my last cardigan though, so I don't know if it's worth going and buying a cardigan for episode 5. But
start like a Nickelodeon, like a Nicktoons for Kids offshoot called the Cardyardigans or the Cardigans, some shit.
Boo.
we plus 2 in that one, chat.
Nope.
We plus 2 in that one. The Cardigans, the Cardyardigans. What are we thinking? I don't know.
No. So what have you been doing the last couple of days?
What have I been doing the last couple of days? So the Switch 2 came out. Just a little thing called the Nintendo Switch 2.
Why don't you switch to some better content?
Well, I did switch to some better content. You might be able to see in the background here. I have a Toad cosplay. Yeah, you might want to just throw up a picture of my cosplay, just for the love of the game. You can take either the picture I posted on Twitter, you could go to YouTube, you could take a still, maybe a funny image of when I'm doing something. I don't know. My wife just left me. Put up an image of me in the Toad fit, but I did a great stream yesterday. A lot of people tuned out for it, and I played Mario Kart World. My brief review of the Switch 2 is that it is probably the most powerful handheld out on the market right now. It has a really large screen. Jesus Christ! It instantly started playing Mario Kart.
Boom! I saw him.
Yeah, the Joy-Cons are really nice. The magnetic capabilities, it's a super strong magnet, and then on the back here you can see there's like a second trigger, and you can just pull that to get it off, de-engage, disengage, re-engage. So the Switch 2 handheld mode, super cool. The docking station, super cool. You get the 120 hertz, you get the 60 FPS enhancements in your Scarlet and Violet. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you could get 8 ice climbers on one stage doing all their shit, and you don't get any lag. You get Cyberpunk 2077 running at 40 frames per second in 1080p while in docked mode, or 720p while in handheld mode, which, that game didn't even run at 40 frames per second on launch on anything, so that's pretty impressive, I think, overall.
It is also nice to have Scarlet and Violet be able to run and not just be atrocious.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we're all here to learn what does O think about Mario Kart World, and what are my impressions of that.
The fans are dying to know. We've been getting flooded in the Twitter DMs. People just
I've played probably 8 hours of it over the past day or two. So I've been playing a lot. I've been putting in the hours, and I've unlocked a couple of the characters, and I've been thinking about how I want to break this down. So I think we can do it by mode, and I want to start with the regular race mode. So the racers were increased from 12 to 24, and there's just double the racers automatically, which means the tracks are a lot wider. And that does reflect in the track design a lot, and the way that the tracks are designed. The tracks do cover a lot more space. The tracks are a lot, they seem a little bit longer than the tracks in Mario Kart 8. It takes 2-3 minutes, but a lot of the tracks aren't really lap based. They're checkpoint based, where you for example, in the Donkey Kong level, every time you go up a little bit further, that's a lap, and there's 5 laps at the end to try to get to the top of the Donkey Kong tower so you can save the princess. And that's cool and all, but I wish they would use a different icon than the laps, because that to me they're not the same thing, and that I don't like that. And I also wish there were more maps that were just laps, a traditional racing, because I like the idea of being able to, perfect the lap, rather than having a track that's, entirely different. While that is cool, it's too much. You can't overdo that. So next, I want to talk about the free roam part. The free roam is probably it's the newest aspect, and it is the most unique, but it is unfortunately the weakest aspect of the entire game, because it is just empty.
Yeah, you and I had talked about this before, that when a game makes the decision to go open world, it needs to have a reason for doing that. And Nintendo has been pretty good about it, because when they took Zelda to open world, it made sense, and they did it in a way where there's things in the world, it makes sense for this to be a world. There's no need for this to be an open world. Right,
yeah. I would have been okay with maybe turning the P block switches into challenges that you can select from a list, kind of like the combo training challenges in Street Fighter 6, but justifying driving around the world and hitting the, going and collecting all the question blocks out of the world and eating burgers to unlock costumes. It's just it doesn't justify its existence and it feels like it's a detriment to the overall game itself because it's taking some of the focus away from the parts of the game that are fun to like the parts of the game that are less fun. So I think overall, like the you nailed it on the head. Like there is no purpose for the free roam to exist, and I don't know why it exists. And also, the free roam just doesn't have enough in it. It is empty. Like it is unfortunately not justified with like it just doesn't justify itself. So that's the free roam. And then I want to talk about my favorite mode and the newest mode, the Knockout Tour mode. So the Knockout Tour mode is essentially like Mario Kart Battle Royale, where you're reaching checkpoints throughout the map. The first checkpoint you reach, so you need to be top 20 or you're eliminated. The second checkpoint you reach, you would need to be top 16. Then you would need to be top 12, top 8, top 4, and then, of course,
you
would
love
need
the
to
top
win
8
at that
round.
point.
You do famously well in top 8 rounds, I've noticed. And when I tune in to watch, definitely gonna watch you lose in top 8 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in like 9th place, basically, on... Well, to be clear, I would spend a lot of time in 1st place, then I would get hit once, and then I would get comboed back to 17th place, and then make it back to 9th in a heartbreaker every time without fail. It would be like you would almost get back, and then you're done. You would have no chance, no dream, no hose, no anything. But the Knockout Tour mode is super fun. It covers a lot of different tracks. I think that is one of the best aspects of the Mario Kart world is that you do have the ability to seamlessly, in the Knockout Tour, drive on Peach's Stadium, up through Mario Circuit, down through Toad's Factory, and over to Bowser's Castle. You have the ability to do all of that without a loading screen in the Knockout Tour. So that is a super cool aspect that I really want to highlight and enjoy. Overall, this Mario Kart, I would say, is not better racing than Mario Kart 8, but it does have more, like, just more to do, right? Obviously, but less maps. So more different bullshit things to do, more characters, more costumes, less maps. So that is really kind of where we're at with that. There is obviously, Mario Kart 8 had the opportunity to put 8 different DLC packs in with 4 tracks each. There were 32 additional tracks on top of the 32 they already had. So there were like total of 64 tracks up to like 80. I'm sure there's more. I'm just guesstimating here. But in Mario Kart World, I think there's something like 24 tracks. So let me look up total number of tracks in that. There are 30 total tracks. So like half of what we're getting in Mario Kart 8. So while I think that's a fine place to start, I would love to see some both free DLC coming out to expand that quickly, and of course they're going to make us pay for some. So just some cool stuff, maybe some character packs as well. You know, for some reason they only gave Donkey Kong one skin. That feels like a missed opportunity with Bonanza coming out. So
well, like you said, they could be waiting for Bonanza to do the skins.
Yeah. There's for sure going to be just skin drops at many different times, and I hope that there's not skin drops that you have to pay for. That's my fear, is that they're going to charge like $2.99 to get the Bowser Custom 3. You know what I mean? Or something like I don't want that. That kind of sucks. But yeah. But that's the general consensus that I have for Mario Kart World. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think there's too much water in the maps. So
true.
Ball knowers know the reference, you know.
Ball knowers know.
But yeah, then there was
Mario,
one.
Though. Oh, good.
No. Oh.
No, you.
No, I was just gonna say the last thing about the Switch 2 is that you remember the Welcome Tour game that they're charging $10 for?
Oh yes.
So it turns out that game actually could be $90 to 100% it, because that game is $10 and it requires an additional $80 of accessories to be able to 100% the game. I don't know what those accessories are, but it was a Twitter post made today that I wanted to highlight, that to actually 100% and get all of the like stars, there's like a star system, you would need to purchase accessories that are worth up to $80. So that is truly the first technically $90 game if you want to 100% it.
Yegog resets the episodes without mentioning $90 Switch games counter back to 0. We can never get away.
Get fucked, Yegog.
Speaking of getting fucked, Yegog, we played Mario Party with Yegog.
Yeah, it was a bad time for him.
We're doing some content together outside of this. Oath edited up a sweet video for you guys that you can go watch right now. Throw up the link.
Maybe just a screenshot of the video. We'll put the link in the description.
No, throw up the link. I can link it. It'll be right there in the corner, right?
What are they gonna click? Oh, I guess yeah, because there's like the cap. It's up there right now. Yegog just put it up there. Look.
Well, look. I'm gonna be the one who puts it in there because it's you add that in when you do the chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Like, from that screen. But anyway, Yegog was like, hey, let's play Mario Party. And he's like, let's do Mario Party 7. And Oath and I, we've never played 7. I have played like maybe 2 total games of Mario Party in my life. I've just watched Northern Lion play a lot. And so we get in there and he just starts mopping the floor with us, getting good rolls, being lucky. And I'm just like super doomer the entire time because Oath and I had bet 100 subs on this game.
100 subs, chat.
100 subs. And your boy got it. I'm so rich now. It's crazy. I'm not even looking for a
the comeback of the century. It was the most DEI win of all time because we did all this work progressing through the game, earning our stars, capitalizing on our capitalistic tendencies. And at the end, who comes along and rewards bonus stars? Who does it?
I don't know. I got the stars, though. I got 2 of the 3 bonus stars.
I think it's Lakitu. Lakitu does it. So Lakitu gave out the bonus stars, and yeah, Z got like all the bonus stars in one. So check out the video. I edited up everybody's perspective. You can see my perspective, Yegog's perspective, and Z's perspective, and it is just a really good time, and I think that you guys will enjoy it. So we're trying to do a little bit of cross-pollination with the YouTube channels. You know, check out my YouTube channel, check out Z's YouTube channel, etc., etc. And it's a good time.
Believe it or not,
yeah.
we're not just coworkers. We actually hang out outside of work. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was going to forget to plug that, so appreciate you writing that there real quick.
I got you, dude.
Yeah. So I do have a philosophical question for you before the end of the lesson, because it is about time for our lesson.
All right,
but,
Socrates.
For us. So I did this last week as well, where you went pee and I had to have a conversation to fill time, and I talked about
do you want me to leave then? All right, sorry guys.
No. We need 2 of us to host the podcast. So yeah, I posed the question. You know, we talk about 100 people, humans versus a wolf versus a bear, but what about 100 animals? What's the tier? You know, obviously 100 chipmunks don't make it. So the next philosophical question, this has been puzzling all week. I've been thinking about this. It's been bothering me, tugging at my brain. So think about having Magnus Carlson, the top of his craft in chess, and LeBron James, the top of his craft in basketball. You would call both of these people the GOAT of their sports, the longest reign at the top of their sport. Well, maybe not Magnus being the longest, but Magnus being the most dominant for the time, I would consider it, at least for my generation. Sure. So think about you being in a hyperbolic time chamber and you have to play Magnus in chess forever until you beat him.
Sure.
And you have to play LeBron James in basketball in one-on-one until you beat him.
Yep.
Who would take the least amount of games to beat? Could you beat Magnus in less amount of games, or could you beat LeBron in a less amount of games? And I want to pose this answer, and I want to hear your answer as well. But my personal answer, I think it would be LeBron James. I think it would be a million games. Yeah. I could beat a million games, and I would never beat Magnus Carlson. Like, I think being at that level of chess and that like mental is so much different than the physical side, because I feel like it's a lot easier to get lucky physically than lucky mentally. I don't know. What do you think?
So define beat him in a game, like a game of 21 with LeBron
James.
Win.
Yeah, well, a one-on-one. So we could say 21, or we could say like sometimes they'll do like 1st to 9 or a 1st to 11.
1st to 11. Yeah, like I would have to agree with you. Like in those million attempts against LeBron, on one of those he actually like trips and breaks an ankle, and then you're like, sick, I'm in there. Whereas like I don't think you can have a mental break so bad in chess. Or like even if Magnus did have a mental break in chess that was that bad,
like a blunder, he could blunder easy.
Yeah, well, he does blunder. I don't know if I'm good enough to capitalize on the blunder to turn that into an automatic win position. And he's also...
But you have infinite games, theoretically. It's just about, like, how many games would it take you to know how Magnus plays versus how many games would it take you to learn how LeBron plays. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think that what this comes down to is that I'm just too dumb.
We're dumb?
I don't have the confidence in myself.
I think
to be able to
I agree with you. We're dumb as bricks. We are dumb as bricks. Chat, are you dumb as bricks? Let us know in the comments. Would you beat LeBron James in a game of one-on-one, or would you beat Magnus Carlson in a game of chess first?
Unlimited attempts. Which one happens first?
Yeah, which one happens first? And we're just going based on number of games. So like one game of chess versus one game of one-on-one. So who you got? Do you got beat Magnus? And who do you think is more washed? Who you got? I don't know. I thought Z would disagree with me, low-key. I thought Z was going to get Magnus. I thought Z thought he had that dog in him. So
no, I'm so aware of my chess ability, and I know that it's not. We're never getting there. Speaking of, okay, so since we're talking about like philosophical and like things that we've been bugging us for a week anyway. I had a question because I was thinking as I was driving home one day from my dad's house. So one of the what is the thing that made it so that way humans were able to evolve in the way that we were? Like, what was the one like innovation that led us to become better than everyone?
Language.
Before language.
Thumbs.
Thumbs help. Because thumbs help us be able to create fire. And what we do with fire is that we cook our food. Fire. And in the cooking process of our food, it starts to digest the food already. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're breaking down a lot of those chemical compounds, making them more nutrient available. And then when it gets to your stomach has to do less work. So we're expending less energy digesting our food, which allows our brain, like we can use that excess energy that we've gotten by not having to spend our time digesting, working on our brains. And that's why like humans were able to like develop and like, get smart, is because we cook our food, basically. It's like the TLDR oversimplification of evolution, being able to cook our food expedited the process because cooking your food is really good, right?
Okay.
So yeah. I was thinking that like when you eat leftovers, is reheating your leftovers like better for you than just eating them cold? Because like I feel like if I have leftover pizza, if I heat it up, I feel more full. But I don't know if that's just a placebo from having physically warm food in my body. I feel good, or if it's like actually like because of like because cooking does what it does to food, but like it's already been cooked, right? So it's like I don't know if like we're cooking it additionally, we're breaking it down more by reheating it, or if it's just placebo and like it's the same amount of calories. And I literally did research into this, could not find anything. No one is doing the studies on if it's like more calorically efficient to reheat your leftovers or not, and it's driving me crazy.
No one's asking the real question.
No one's asking the real question, chat.
Here is my, I'm going to say it confidently, even if I'm wrong, answer. When it comes to leftovers, when you're heating them up, you are killing bacteria that has formed since the last time you cooked it, because it does cool down and bacteria does form on the surface. So
well, yes, but if you're storing it properly at appropriate temperatures, that's not something you have to worry about.
Right. But even if it's not harmful bacteria, it is a bacteria that forms because it is in an environment conducive to that, versus when you apply that heat to it directly, it does kill that bacteria. Like, because I don't know if you knew this, there's bacteria on everything, whether it hurts us or is good for us, So like
I worked food service for 6 years. I'm aware.
Yeah. Beyond that, also my confidently incorrect answer or confidently correct answer, depending on what the verdict is also that like heating up something and eating it is heating up your insides, and the warmer your insides are, just in general, the more lethargic you become, because like studies show that you become more lethargic in hotter weather as well. But yeah, just because like obviously it becomes more of an energy conservation thing at that point. So like your body is having a little mini energy conservation moment eating the pizza, because it's like, holy shit, that shit hot. I got to make sure I don't die from this pizza right now. Just food for thought. And maybe they're not doing the experiments because they want to hide the answer. Maybe they don't want us to know. Maybe there's something sinister lurking underneath the surface.
Big food science doesn't want you to know.
Monsanto. The rumor comes out.
All right, while we are on the topic of learning things.
I love learning. I love learning so much.
And we already talked about pride a little bit. Are you ready for this week's lesson?
Oh my gosh, I am so ready for this week's lesson. You have no idea. What are you teaching me about?
All right, so, I will say, you did ruin one of the bits that I prepared in the slide, because I was like,
wait, what?
Happy Pride! So I was like, So what to talk about, right? Should we talk about important figures like Marsha P. Johnson? Should we talk about historical moments like when Obama made gay marriage legal back in 2015?
Producer Yegog here. Yep, this time I have to correct Yuzi, unfortunately, but it wasn't Obama. It was the Supreme Court. Kind of important distinction there. I don't know. Sorry.
Should we talk about the problems being caused by the current administration? I have a better idea. What if we had lesbian lizards?
Oh! Wait. Okay, wait. Okay.
Okay. You're probably asking, how can a lesbian be, or yeah, how can a lesbian be a lizard? No, how can lizards be lesbians? Right?
This is like a lot lizard, right? But different.
No, not even a little bit.
Okay. My bad. I'll shut up and listen.
The New Mexican Whiptail lizard.
Whoa.
So the New Mexican Whiptail lizards is a species of lizard in New Mexico, Arizona-ish area. That is, it's an entirely female species. There are no male reptiles of this species.
Whoa.
Right, and you're probably like, how can that happen, right? Because like, I don't know if you guys know about the birds and the bees, right? So generally, how sexual reproduction works is that you have the woman, she has an egg that has an X chromosome, and then the male has sperm, which can have either a Y chromosome or an X chromosome, and then they come together. And if you get XX, you end up with a female. If you get XY, you end up with a male, right? That is, in general, how reproduction works. However, there are some species of reptiles that, for whatever reason, they can do a process called parthenogenesis. And basically, what they do is that the female herself is able to just produce an egg that has 2 X chromosomes. And
she don't need no man.
She don't need no man. She literally just is able to. It's kind of like asexual reproduction, honestly. She's just making clones of herself. So like all of the babies she has are like genetic copies of her. They have like 100% of the same genetic material, which is like kind of cool because like as a species, you don't need males to be able to survive. So you don't have to worry about like being able to find a mate, living long enough to be able to do that, things like that. So like that's kind of beneficial, but it's also like kind of negatively beneficial, or not negatively beneficial. It's kind of harmful because if you have no genetic variation in your species, like if a disease or something would be introduced into the ecosystem, it would literally just kill everyone because you wouldn't, like everyone would have the same genetic makeup. No one would be able to resist that because there's a lack of genetic variety. And I know all
this. Yes.
I was looking into parthenogenesis and like how the fuck is this able to happen? Because there's like 40 different species of reptiles that do it. A lot of plants are able to do it too. Where they just are able to do the thing. And basically what I found from like literally like an hour of research today is that it just works. There is no one knows why they're able to do it, but they can just produce an egg that's like ready to go. And so that's what you end up with a species of lizards that is all completely female. And as you saw a couple slides ago, the whiptail lizard has just become like a pride symbol because it is just so obtuse that you have these lesbian lizards that they're all just hanging out. They don't need no men. Again, power to women, just having babies. So
but do they need to have sex to reproduce, or they just spit out eggs asexually?
They just spit out eggs asexually.
Wow. So they're wow.
So they're most commonly found on the bank of the Rio Grande. And
that is like one gay lizard.
It is a gay lizard.
Holy shit!
Almost assuredly photoshopped, but you know it's on brand.
All right.
And then they do a lot of digging for their food. They eat like beetles and ants and stuff like that. But they are known to eat some above ground things like butterflies as well. So on the Scrandle, the ants get the higher score here. Because the lizard
ant Scrandle.
Yeah, or the lizard Scrandle.
94% smashing the ants.
Yeah, dude. Who says no? Find a nice little ant colony. Who says no?
Yes, it's the ant buff.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the whiptail lizard. I learned about this honestly because one of my 8th graders asked if I had heard of the lesbian lizards, and I was like, no. And then I did research because I thought she was just like being funny. And then I looked it up. I was like, why is this a thing? What do you mean lesbian lizards?
That's why I could never be a school teacher, because my instant thought when you said lesbian lizard was, okay, a lot lizard. I'm a psychopath. I could not like a child would say something like that to me in my brain. I would have to stop myself physically. I would have to.
Yeah, believe it or not, I didn't think that the 12-year-old was talking about whores at truck stops. But yeah, so shout outs the New Mexico whiptail lizards. Any questions?
So if the lizards are asexual and they're only female and they spit the eggs out themselves and they're already fertilized, I just like, why are there not a billion of these everywhere? would these things not just be very prevalent all over the place because they would never be like there would be no harm to them. They would just be everywhere, right?
Well, I mean, like with any sort of ecology, you were still limited by like the size of the your environment and the resources available to you. And they have predators, so like, you know, and like you do still have to live to the age of maturity to be able to reproduce. Like 4-day baby lizard isn't having another lizard.
No, I hear you on that. It's just I feel like they would reproduce a ton, but maybe there is like just a cycle to it that I'm not fully aware of. But
I'm not
honestly,
entirely sure, but like I assume because like there's like mating seasons, and so like I assume that like they don't get the urge to make the egg until mating season. I assume. I don't know.
I will say I bet the book clubs are incredible. I would love to go to that book club and be a fly on the wall. Well, they'd probably fuck me up if I was a fly on the wall. Maybe I would just be a non-eatable thing on the wall, you know? Non-edible.
I would not want to be an ant on the wall, I'll tell you what. But
yeah,
a butterfly on the wall.
Ant on the wall, cooked. They got your number. It's like aimbot.
But yeah, so that is our very stupid Happy Pride lesson that I put together for us today.
Thank you very much for that lesson, and thank you guys for tuning into the Softlock Cafe. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Had a great time. Make sure to like and subscribe. We've seen a lot of people tuning in. Unfortunately, not a lot of people subscribing. I think it's like a 94% ratio of subscribe to not subscribe. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, liking if you guys are enjoying the content. If you made it this far into the video, I'm going to be honest with you, hit that shit. You watched an hour. Put it in. Put it in the bag.
Leave a comment as well. Yeah. Comment your favorite gay lizard. Comment your favorite game from Summer Games Fest. I guess we could do real questions. Comment what it was like
Magnus
when you got
or LeBron.
Your wisdom. Comment Magnus or LeBron. Comment what it was like when you got your wisdom teeth taken out. So leave it all. Let us know. Let us know.
Let us know. We want to hear. We will respond to comments if you leave them. I swear we will.
Let us know if you like my cat ear headphones.
Yeah, shout out Sugar Skull Gaming. We're doing shout outs to chatters, I guess, today. So
Alrighty.
Yeah. Thank you guys. See you next time at the Softlock Cafe.
You make me wanna die.